Hi guys. You might already know that May is Lyme Disease Awareness Month. It's also the awareness month for other important causes and people groups, so this isn't to diminish that at all. This one's just personal to me and maybe a little lesser known. I was going back and forth on whether I wanted to share anything about this. I have been a little quieter about my health situation over recent years because it is a personal thing and I don't mind talking about it to people in person. But yeah, just haven't felt the need to share it on social media or anything like that. And still kind of don't, with this exception. Because I know I've found it encouraging to see videos or posts of people who are going through something similar with chronic illness. So, in the spirit of Lyme Disease Awareness Month, just thought I'd share a little bit about my experience. So, if you don't really care about that, if you're not curious, then move along. Won't hurt my feelings. But I started having symptoms in 2015, so this has been a journey for me. We didn't find the Lyme disease until 2017 when it had already progressed to meningitis because they found it in my spinal fluid. So it was a journey even getting to that point. Saw so many doctors with normal test results. Actually did test positive for something called cat scratch fever, which is from a bacteria called Bartonella henselae, and just assumed it was from being scratched by a cat because that had happened recently. But that is also a pretty common co-infection with the Lyme disease bacteria, Borrelia burgdorferi, but no one tested me for Lyme. My neurologist even said when they did find it that I must have gotten it on a trip to New York or something because Lyme disease isn't in Georgia, which it definitely is. I think that it's just become more widespread, even with climate change stuff. Ticks have become more prominent, and it's more common. They're more active for longer during the year, and you just gotta be careful. So, especially with it warming up and being outside more, please check yourself for ticks. If you find a bite, look up how to remove it safely, and you can even get it tested to see if the tick is infected. And then, monitor your symptoms closely because the best way to fight Lyme disease is to get antibiotics like ASAP. Because in cases like mine, if they don't find it for years, which happens with a lot of people because it mimics a lot of other things with sort of vague symptoms like extreme fatigue, headaches, brain fog. Like, the only defining factor is the erythema migraines rash, which I think less than half people get. I didn't get it. So that's not guaranteed either. And the Lyme disease test itself is not the most accurate. So it's just a really hard disease to get a diagnosis for and to find. So you just have to be your own advocate. Find a Lyme literate doctor that will listen to you. And just be wary of ticks, and especially if you have a bite. Please be careful. Anyways, so it was a trip leading up to even getting the diagnosis. Lots of semesters I ended up withdrawing from school because I thought that, I just needed to rest, or maybe I'm depressed, or I'll give it another go next semester, and then would crash about halfway through and have to drop out again. So, no, I still have not graduated college, and that's okay. Maybe next year. I'm really close. I have been for a while, but my health has to come first, and I'm very thankful that my parents are letting me stay home and recover and do what I need to do in the meantime, because this could be a lot harder if, I didn't have somewhere to go. But, so in 2017, they actually confirmed the Lyme disease with the cat scratch disease bacteria, whatever, co-infection. Did some IV antibiotics, had to stop those because of a blood clot, and then do oral antibiotics and blood thinners, and it was a whole thing. But actually did start feeling better. Was still kind of tired, but I assumed it would just be a while to get my strength back, which is a normal expectation when you're sick for so long. Was feeling better enough to move to Virginia the following year for the NASA internship. I do remember kind of crashing that fall, but it wasn't where I couldn't finish. Like, I was doing classes and the internship and living alone in a new state. I did a lot at once. So I would maybe recommend going a little slower. I was just ready to do life and felt like God opened doors to go to Virginia, and I don't regret it. Those were some of the sweetest months, and I met some amazing people that I'm still friends with. I can put NASA on my resume, so no regrets. But moved back and tried to start doing a ministry internship, tried to do some jobs over the summer before then. Was still just really tired, hard time waking up and getting places. Again, was like, well, maybe I'm depressed from living alone, or again, maybe I'm just weak, need to get my strength back, whatever. So I started trying to do the internship in a couple classes that fall. Similar thing happened in Virginia where I crashed about halfway through, but this was like way worse. Like, wasn't getting out of bed. And it wasn't an emotional thing. I mean, obviously that is a huge bummer if you're too tired to function, but it was definitely like physical. It's the weirdest thing, just waking up tired, but like just really weak, where you feel like even though you've slept like 12 hours, you can just immediately go back to sleep, but then just feel like you're too weak to get up. And then just the cognition part of it is rough too. Like, the more tired I am, the less coherent I am, I feel like, or the harder it is to remember things, or do things, or get places. Getting up and getting ready and getting somewhere feels like running a marathon a lot of the time. I did, after I crashed that hard that fall of 2019, I tried a new treatment with a doctor in Myrtle Beach, who I still follow up with every once in a while, called the Shoemaker Protocol. That primarily focuses on like just chronic inflammation, oftentimes from mold exposure, which oddly has a link to Lyme patients, I guess, just being more susceptible to being affected by the mycotoxins. We did end up having a hidden mold problem, so I think that maybe was part of it. But as we continued the treatment, and my cat's screaming, Jerry, you're fine. He's fine. We tried that for a while, and a bunch of different supplements too. She's a medical doctor, but also takes a more like natural, integrative, holistic approach, which I appreciate. I've found that a lot of long-term Lyme patients turn to that because conventional medicine oftentimes doesn't work. Lyme, especially if it's just gotten deep in your body and formed something called biofilms, can be very antibiotic resistant. So it's a process to break that down and eradicate it. So as the other treatment didn't seem to be working as well, even after we had remediated the mold issue, the doctor from Myrtle Beach came to the conclusion that I might still have Lyme even after I'd done antibiotics for so long. So earlier this year we started an herbal antimicrobial, which has been found to be even more effective against Lyme than conventional antibiotics. Granted, that's in like a petri dish setting. The study I read was, I think, just in vitro, not in vivo. But been trying that. Maybe it felt a little better. It's honestly, I feel like my memory still isn't the best, and it's such a long process. It's really hard for me to tell any progress, or to be like, well, maybe I'm just making it up, or maybe I just had a good day and overall I'm not improving. It's hard. I might need to start like keeping a journal to just track it so I can remember. I feel like I've been able to do a little more. I'm hoping to do a couple classes this fall, but that's being very optimistic. I still sleep a lot and get worn out really easily. I might still keep increasing the dose of the herbal antimicrobial I did do a sleep study in December that was normal as far as I know, but I'm hoping to follow up with my initial infectious disease doctor who's more local soon, hopefully. Another fun part about chronic illness is insurance and disability and all that jazz. Since I turned 26 last year, got booted off my dad's plan and applied to stay on it as a disabled dependent, had medical documentation, was denied it because they claimed that I was able to support myself, which is very not true. So I've appealed it twice now, and this past appeal gave them more detailed documentation that I don't know how they'll be able to deny at that time, but if they do, I'll just go from there. It's fun. But it's okay. I'm okay. I feel like I've been able to be in good spirits for the most part. It was kind of weird when COVID shut everything down because I felt like I was already doing the stay-at-home isolation thing. It does make it, just being so tired makes it very hard to make and maintain friendships, and dating just feels out of the question a lot of the times. So it can get very lonely, so thank you to the friends that have stuck around and been so understanding, and I'm sorry for all the times I've had to cancel or delay plans, but yeah, it means a lot. But yeah, I'll be alright. I still just don't do much, and when I meet people, the first questions or so is, what do you do? Are you in school? Are you working? And it's just very hard to answer that, because obviously the answer is no, but I don't want them to think I'm lazy or have bad integrity, but also it's how much of the health stuff do you share, because it is personal, and I'm not obligated to tell everyone everything, I know that, but it's tricky, and especially if I'm not feeling well, I'm just not able to communicate clearly, and I'm oh, no, they think I'm stupid, and I don't know, I need to not care what people think, it's just truthfully presenting myself. It is hard, and I hope I'm doing that now. I honestly don't know. I was putting all this video until I was feeling better, but I've just been really tired this week, so I'm I just might have to make it tired, and it is what it is. So yeah, no crazy progress at the moment, but if you want any resources, I can certainly send you that direction, or just Google long-term chronic Lyme issues. It's a thing that I think is slowly starting to become more recognized, but for a long time the medical community kind of dismissed it as just chronic fatigue, which that's part of it, but yeah, so I'm trying to think if there's anything else that goes with this. Yeah, if you have any questions, I don't mind talking about it. It's just, I never know how much people actually want to know, but I figured a little update couldn't hurt. But God's still good. Honestly, the best thing about all this and just being home not doing a lot is I feel like I've just had some really sweet just one-on-one time with him, but now I'm getting to the point where I'm I need community, so I'm trying to figure out how to get more involved in church while also not overdoing it and being COVID careful and all that good stuff, because I'm not vaccinated yet, because I would prefer to have insurance and maybe get my infectious disease doctor's opinion before all that, just, I know you don't need insurance for the vaccine, but just in case I were to have a reaction or something, since my immune system's a little abnormal at the moment. But yeah, it's kind of my life right now, just doing what I can. I think we're all just trying to survive, but I'm just waiting. But those who wait on the Lord renew their strength. And there's a really good Maverick City song out right now about that, called Wait on You. I can link it below if you want to listen. There's also a really short animation video that I think the organization's called Lyme Disease UK, that they recently put out for Lyme Disease Awareness Month, and it does a really good, succinct job of explaining what chronic Lyme looks like for a lot of people, and I feel like I related to a lot of it. But yeah, sorry this was so long. I just wanted to share, and we'll see if I actually post this or not, but it's good for me to, I guess, verbally process it at least. But yeah, that's that. Hit me up if you want to talk about it more or talk about something else. I got time. Not usually energy, but sometimes. If I have enough caffeine. But okay, bye.